Welcome back to another episode of the Casey Campbell podcast. Casey Campbell with you, of course. Pleased to be joined by Shaun Wegner, the head baseball coach at UWM. How's it going?
It's good, Casey. We're here in wintertime getting prepared for baseball outside, so it's an interesting time, but our guys are excited.
Okay, so let's how's overall practices have been? I know obviously it's been a challenge with all the weather, but what has it been like to be out there, and what can you take away from what you've learned about your team this year?
Yeah, I think overall we had a really good fall. We've got a half and half essentially of returners and new guys to the program. So that fall is really about gelling and meshing and trying to figure out how you're going to blend your roster best together. And overall, we stayed relatively healthy, knock on wood. That's always kind of the biggest question mark you look for in the season and just trying to stay healthy. But we've been able to get after it here with individuals for a little bit, and I know tomorrow starts our first team practice, which next year we get a couple more team practice dates, which is a little bit beneficial for all Division I athletes. So um, just getting guys some fundamental preparation, getting back into the swing of things, and then we'll get after it, trying to prepare for our first week at Mercer.
So going into this year, let's go through what the player landscape is going to be looking like. Kind of take us around the diamond, tell us about all the players that will be returning and some of the new faces we may not know yet.
Yeah, our catching core all comes back pretty much intact. Ty Lethert and Tom Otto did most of the catching last year. Those will be the mainstays again with Ben Beering as a third-year guy who's very physically skilled. It's just a matter of uh, getting a little bit more comfortable and relaxing a little bit. Justin Hauser is our first baseman, pretty much an everyday guy last year as well as this year, if everything goes well and he stays healthy. Tyler Bickers, Gabe Ressler back in the middle of the infield, both played a bunch of games for us and are pretty consistent. And then we got a new third base position kind of wide open for the suitor that wants to go take that position. And then our outfield, Q Phillips is back in the outfield. He's been really, really good so far in the fall and early in the spring. So we're looking for some big things out of him. But you're going to see a lot of new faces there in the lineup with some opportunity there. And we're excited about it. We've got some transfers from junior college. We've got some transfers from other NCAA schools. And then we have a couple freshmen that we think can come in and impact that lineup right away. So you're gonna see a blend of those kind of guys between development and trying to win baseball games because ultimately that's what we're trying to do. And then on the mound we lose a couple of our starting pieces, but as in every year you develop and you try to have guys step up and take that new role. So you'll see a kind of a unique situation in which we have someone who started with our program, decided to leave our program and came back. He'll probably be a guy that we hand the ball to on the weekend along with a couple more returners. And we're still trying to figure out some of those pieces, like who's going to be your back end guy, who's going to be the Sunday starter, who's going to be the midweek guy, who's going to be the firefighter coming out of the bullpen right away. So we got 38 guys, and we're excited about the roster we have. And now it's just a matter of who's going to separate themselves and take the bull by the horns and run with it.
So, um, kind of preview what the Horizon League is going to be like this year. And really, because it's always you never know what could happen with the teams that are in there, and obviously a lot of changes to a few of them.
Yeah, there's some teams that have a lot of turnover. I think Oakland probably brings back the most returning players in the league, I would say. Wright State has quite a bit of turnover on their lineup, just like some of those other programs. NKU had a senior heavy, multiple fifth-year guys, sixth-year guys on their roster last year. So there's probably a little bit more parity than normal. There's more turnover in the league, I would say, than normal between graduation, some guys popping in the portal and heading to other schools. So I think it'll be a competitive season. I think everyone has a chance. I mean, I don't think it's like anyone's going to run away with the conference. It's just a matter of who plays well enough most consistently to kind of keep themselves on top of the standings, and then at the end of the year, who's sitting in that 1 and 2 spot to get those buys. So um, again, we return a bunch of guys that we think can impact, but we think we also brought in some new guys to add to that equation that gives us a chance to be right in the mix and compete for that championship.
Yeah. the non-conference slate for you guys. Of course, starting out in you go to Nevada, South Carolina, starting off in Georgia. Um, yeah, and then of course you got Minnesota going to Kansas for a series, and then a game in Chicago, and then you guys start Horizon League play.
Oh yeah, we're definitely gonna get some mileage on. Being here in Wisconsin, you don't get too many home games early in the season.
Yeah,
But we're no strangers to as we call it, the nomad life, where we're always traveling and finding new places to play. So one thing that I promised our players is we're going to challenge ourselves. We're going to get in environments that are going to replicate postseason play because ultimately that's our goal. And in our league, it's a one bid league. There's no at-large bids typically coming out of the Horizon League. So we're going to go challenge our players, put them against some really good competition, put them in some atmospheres that can replicate that regional lifestyle, and hopefully continue to build as we get into conference play because ultimately we want to be playing our best baseball at the end of the year. So we're going to go see some parts of the United States. We're going to go travel to some different time zones. We're going to challenge our baseball players, but ultimately when guys sign on the dotted line to come to Milwaukee, they want to play Division One baseball, and we're going to put them in those experiences and those atmospheres that they signed up for.
yeah. And then finally, just a few weeks until the season starts before you head to Macon, Georgia to play Mercer. But what you really want to see out of what do you guys want to accomplish in the next few weeks before the season starts?
Yeah, at this point, it's just about guaranteeing that everyone's on the same page and getting our communication down, our lingo down, making sure everyone understands all of our defensive plays, our offensive plays, because we just want to make sure that if we do end up losing a game, it's because the other team beat us and we didn't lose it ourselves, right? Ultimately, in this game, I think you find out more games are lost than are won. The other team maybe makes the throwing error that costs them, or they don't get a bunt down and they don't get the run in. And it's kind of handed to you versus having to go take it. So we just want to make sure that we can control what we can control. And those are the types of things that we're trying to fine tune now and really get good with so that when it comes to gameplay, we just rely on our unconscious thoughts and our abilities and our preparation that kind of put us in position to be ready for this. So it's a lot of the mental side of the game. It's a lot of the conversation, the communication, because at this point, for the most part, your physical skill set's your physical skill set. You're not going to fine tune or increase much of that. So it's
Yeah,
throwing the ball out there, going to play the baseball game, and just really starting to prepare mentally for what's about to hit you.
absolutely. All right. Well, Shaun, thank you so much for the time as always, and best of luck to UWM this coming season.
Thank you very much, Casey. Stay warm.